It's also my honor to welcome you here. How many of you are new to UA? You know, this is your first week here. About half of you. I love imagining myself in your shoes. I just think it's exciting, and I don't have to work too hard to imagine it because I only came a year ago to UA. So 1 year and 1 month ago was my first day, not knowing anyone, not knowing where any buildings were. But I was reflecting on why I came to UA, because I think it has a lot to do with why you came to UA. I was 26 years at the University of Kentucky, but for the last several years, I had been admiring what was happening at UA, because there was a twin set of circumstances that isn't happening anywhere else. The school was growing very fast in its number of undergraduate students, but somehow at the same time, quality was going up and student success was going up. Quality, when I say that, I mean the average GPA of students coming in and the average test scores of undergraduates coming in was going up as fast as the growth was happening. That's extremely difficult. And at the same time, the student success rate, which means the number who succeed in graduating in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, was also going up. So to grow in quality and grow in numbers at the same time takes a huge number of units working together for student success. Whether you are the professor of record or not the professor of record, whether you're in a lab or discussion section or the sole instructor for a class, you are everywhere on this campus, and the number of GTAs is a huge percentage of our teaching corpus. So the students don't distinguish between the TA and the regular professor because you're in charge of their grades. And that's what really matters. You're in charge of their learning, you're in charge of their grades. And so don't forget that level of intimidation that they have. We're really glad you chose to be here, but there was also another process going on. We chose you to be here. And a huge part of that selection process had to do with your faculty in your home department imagining you in this role. Would you be good? Would you be caring, professional, and dedicated to student success? And obviously, they felt that you would, and I am very confident about that too. One thing I think is helpful is to realize that if you're in a graduate program, it's because you were at or near the top of your class. Academics didn't come that hard to you. You succeeded at every step of the way. That's what got you where you are. But take 2 steps backwards. First, don't think of your most recent academic experience as a major, as a senior, as a graduating person from your institution. Put yourself back to your freshman year, because most of you will be interacting with freshmen and sophomores this year. So put yourself back to that and all of that fear that even though you were quite good in high school, maybe everyone's that good in college, and would you measure up? But then I want you to broaden that out. And don't think of just yourself as a freshman. Think of the full spectrum of students you knew and interacted with. So think about the average student, not the one who was going to graduate school, but the one who is going to get a degree and a great job and be a wonderful person in life, but for whom this might have been a little more difficult than it was for you. Y'all know someone, at least one person who was in that situation. I knew a lot, and I knew them academically because I'm an amazing typist. It's my secret talent. I can type like crazy. And so back in my day, people needed you to type their papers. And so I type them, I'm like, oh my gosh. Can I help you with this? Rather than just type it. Think about those students, and then think about the ones who struggled, the ones who had external challenges or who didn't take the AP classes in high school. And those are the ones that we also want to succeed. We need them to succeed. And that doesn't mean lowering any bars. It means you going to where they are and helping them close the gap and knowing what resources are available across this great campus to help you help them. Writing center, speaking studio, tutors. What do they need to be successful? So don't just have a bar and say, I hope they all get there. Get them there. That's why the graduation numbers have been going up and up and up here. And a great deal of the pedagogy conversations that you will have here are about that, how to reach all the students. It's a mistake to just look at the front rows of students when you're checking for comprehension. Right now, I'm checking for comprehension. Who's sleeping? Am I engaging? Am I using too much time? But you can't just look at the front of the room. You have to look at the ones that are harder to reach, and are you reaching them? And what can you do to talk to them on the way as they leave class and invite them to come to your office? Because that invitation could be a game changer for that student. They don't know how accessible you are. You have to tell them how accessible you are. Another thing I was thinking about is that we had in my former institution, a class for new freshmen. It was sort of, they called it, it was University of Kentucky UK 101. And then they had one for transfer students. And a lot of the transfer students were from community colleges or smaller liberal arts colleges, and now they were transferring to a big research university so that they could be launched to whatever next career they had. And they had Ask a Professor Day. And someone invited me to come, and it was a chance for those students to ask whatever was on their mind. And I thought, well, this will be fun. And so I went, and the first question just about knocked me flat. The person said, why don't you all like to teach here? And I said, why would you say that? We love to teach here. Well, that let loose a whole thing from these students who had been in smaller, maybe more nurturing environments, and they said, people here don't care, people here don't like to teach. They're all about their research, they're all about their own progress, and not about ours. And that was a huge eye-opener to me. What I said to them, from my position flat on my back, was, we like students who show interest and passion, and if you go to anyone's office, you'll see how much they like to teach. Or if you are the kind of student that says something to them after class about how interesting the material was, you'll see that love of their subject matter that makes them great teachers. But then as I thought about it afterwards, I thought the students might not have that passion. They might not have that interest, that desire to go beyond. Our challenge is to light that fire. So how can you do that? Starting with your own love of your subject matter and caring for that student that's out there in front of you. So that is a huge challenge. It's the challenge all of us face every year. In spite of my gray hair, I have not been teaching for 31 years. 20 plus, but not 31. But I had a similar orientation to what President Bell talked about. We had one day of meetings where they told us how to keep a grade book, but one part of what they did, I'm a Spanish professor, and so it was language teaching specifically, and they took us to a Turkish class. They called it shock Turkish, and was it ever a shock? Because none of us, it's such an unfamiliar language. If it had been like shock French and I'm in Spanish, you can't shock me that much with your French. But Turkish, I had no idea what they were saying. No one had any idea. This woman talked like a machine gun, and what? And then she would call on people. She would say, how are you? I am fine. And then she'd turn to you and say, how are you? And you were supposed to say, I am fine, in Turkish, and you didn't even have any idea which word was which, where one word stopped and the next word started. It was so scary. And we all were shrinking down, saying, oh my God, don't call on me. Don't call on me, because I don't even know these other people, and I'm going to be so embarrassed if you call on me. And that was a great lesson about your freshmen, their first week. So when they don't raise their hands, put yourself in their position. Remember the full spectrum of students. Remember your challenge to engage them, not your wish that they're engaged. And when I took my doctoral exams, I was so nervous before and so happy afterwards, just like you all will be. And the director of my graduate program said this kind of piercing, look you in the eye thing that I never forgot. He said, the difference between a good teacher and a bad teacher is that the good ones remember how you felt yesterday. It was so meaningful. So keep that in mind. And this is going to be a little bit of an intimidating experience when you all do your, what we call micro-teaching, your videoed teaching experience here. But there's a famous poem in English about the gift that it is to be able for a moment to see yourself as others see you. And that's the gift that you're going to have. So appreciate that moment for what it is and learn from it, and imagine yourself as the students see you. The graduate school is here to help, not just today, but throughout your career here. We have resources that knit you together outside your department. After this first week, you're going to be encapsulated in your department, and it's possible to go through your whole career here and never leave it. I urge you not to do that, because there are resources that can help you all over campus, including each other. There's a graduate student association that is all about learning to talk outside your disciplinary language, and I hope you all will find ways to engage in that. And also, one of the reasons I came here is that there is such an invigorating focus on research, and that's why you all are here. Because we're about solving tomorrow's problems. We're about innovation, discovery, new knowledge. Take a moment to enjoy that and put that passion into your teaching. That's it. So thank you for this opportunity to say hi. I'm excited for you, and I hope you enjoy every minute, even the scary ones. Thanks.